Oh hey, didn't see you there. I bet you're just all wowed over big city life in Japan. Well, let me show you what small town America has to offer. Yeah, that wasn't a very good idea.
Durarara, originally a light novel series written by the established author of Baccano, Raigo Narita, was a smash hit in the anime community and still holds up as a fantastic watch read and, I don't know, smell. But if you don't believe me, smell it yourself! Or you can believe the critics who praise it, such as a Forbes article considering it one of the best anime of the 2010s. But how did something like Durarara even come to be?
I don't know, I just tried to microwave a Hot Pocket and this was in there when I came back.
Narita was very familiar with the town of Ikebukuro, the setting of Durarara, and decided to add a little bit of everything he could possibly think of. And for the name, the choice landed on Durarara because it seemed like the type of sound that would come from revving an engine. And you know what's better than one exclamation point? Two!
Depends on the category though. Most amount of exclamation points? Least? Most amount of question marks? I'd say it's pretty neutral.
But God, has Durarara made its rounds around different media. It started as a light novel that ran from 2004 till 2014, but there are also manga adaptations that's been going on since 2009 and is still going. There are two visual novel games, one of which is called Three-Way Standoff, which has an enhanced version that I have right here. I would love to play it, but I hardly read as it is, so a second language with Japanese is a bit out of the question. It later got remade on the PS Vita, then got a sequel being Durarara Relay. Same affair here.
Hey, have you ever wanted to throw a vending machine at Kirito from Sword Art Online on Green Hill Zone? I don't know why you would want specifically that, but it's there for you. I got a game for you.
Durarara was also included in the Dengenki Bunko fighting games. I have the one for PS3 where Shizuo is a playable character, and I would love to cover this game as a topic by itself later. Just know I absolutely love it. There are a fair share of different manga and light novels that cover their own little avenues, including but not limited to a sequel series called Durarara Shush.
Dude, what the hell? Don't shush me!
Durarara is unique in its spin-offs because they almost feel like they all hold some kind of light within the series. Because the way it's built, it can genuinely have any expanse of content that it wants, and that is because of the brilliant way that the cast is built. Let's take a look at it, maybe in detail.
Breaking news? What is it? That's not good.
Okay, we can start somewhere basic. Trying to take on the entire cast for some properties can be a little much, obviously. So how about the main cast? Okay, I understand. Let's get even more specific. Main character, let's talk about whoever the main character is.
Are you kidding me?
So Durarara is a very, very interesting property for a multitude of reasons, but I think one of my favorites are how the characters are handled. Of course, there are characters that are more present, more active, more important than others, but the series has no main character. Some could argue with one of the most iconic characters though, which is Selkie, also known as the Headless Rider. She's a courier in the city of Ikebukuro, getting her name on the account that she rides a shadow motorcycle and is a dual-han, therefore has no head. Very accurate description.
I was kind of inspired by it.
There's also the character that I somewhat would consider the main for a bit, Mikado Ryogamine. We follow his perspective into Ikebukuro and spoilers for the end of the first part of the anime, but also runs the gang known as the Dollars. A color gang that's color is transparent, which the Dollars are very influential throughout the course of the story, being one of the main ignitions for a lot of the events in the series. There's Mikado's best friend, Masao Mikita, who got Mikado to move to Ikebukuro. He comes off as a comedic character, but after the first act, he takes a more serious role in the story that never quite shakes off as the leader of one of the more prominent cover gangs, the Yellow Scarves. Anri caps off our trio of these characters, where her character is a much more reserved type of a tragic backstory. One of her bits of relevancy comes from the fact that she has the demon sword Saika, which can mind control people, I guess. Oh, and you can't forget Izao Orihara, one of the most popular characters in the franchise. He's an information broker for everyone in the city of Ikebukuro and is just absurdly mischievous. He's an absolute joy to see on screen because he knows a little bit of everything about everyone and he acts like he just has it over people. He's a fantastic antagonist and makes his presence known, but he's mortal enemies with someone named Shizuo Hyojima, who just wants to have a peaceful life as a debt collector of all things, but can also throw cars with more ease than the average person. He was easily one of my favorite characters because for someone who wants a peaceful life, he's down to do that whole violence thing kids talk about a lot.
And that's pretty much the main cast. Oh, I didn't realize there was another page.
Oh, but you can't forget the black market doctor who has a romantic dynamic with the headless rider, Salty, that we mentioned at the start of this. There's also Shizuo's brother, who's a famous actor and a serial killer girlfriend. Oh, also the Russian spy girl that wants to fight Shizuo, and can't forget Izai's little sisters that have a connection with Aoba, who's like the leader of the Blue Squares, the group that the Yellow Scarf Masayomi group has been in a turf war with. And I haven't even mentioned the Russian sushi vendor, or the weird guy and the yandere girl who went through surgery to look like the headless rider's head, and a sister that's in love with the weird guy, and
I thought it would be quicker and kind of funny to do that entire section from memory, but there are over 100 named characters who get different amounts of screen time. So I was kind of bound to forget someone, like I even forgot to mention this cat.
but with a decent view of the cast, what is Durarara about?
Is that a trick question?
To put it simply, the series is about the city of Ikebukuro and the effects that are made from the Dollars, Yellow Scarves, the Psycho Army, and all affiliated parties. With parallels being made to the Three Kingdoms stories, a focus on Masayomi, Mikado, and Henri. Of course, with how I described it, it could seem like they're all mostly disconnected events that may cross over on top of each other, but it is a continuously evolving plot that has a whole lot of moving pieces, mostly revolving around people's obsession with the head from the Headless Rider. But I guess a way to put it is the reason why there isn't exactly a main character in Durarara is because the city of Ikebukuro is the main character. Someone on one side of the city can do something major, and that could cause another character to react and follow a specific course due to that. And that is how many different things can happen, all the while being just one story.
And all the characters are very recognizable, like, show me a character and I could probably tell you their name. Is that a cat? How would you even pronounce that?
And style points have to be given to the show's openings and endings. If you're already familiar with the 2007's Baccano, then you already know the cutout card way of introducing characters, and I think it works perfect here. It gives every character a small moment for them to stand out, and it normally shows all the characters connected in some way, like what happens in Mikado's card, and what happens in Shizuo's are going on and possibly even affecting one another. Oh, and you can't forget the endings. And Durarara's heyday, these were iconic. It's mostly just a still picture, but it has all the characters connected together, displaying personalities and dynamics. I still remember how many people would redraw this outro to fit different characters. It was just so cool to see, and I kinda honestly wish people still did that.
I wish people still did a lot of things, like letting me into Burger King. There are so many Whoppers I need to swap with Big Macs, but they have a picture of me at the register now.
And you know a series has charm when just opening up the pages of the light novel has their own unique style and flair to it. Most light novels start off with a few cover pages to show what happens in the volume, but Durarara has fold-outs tucked in the front pages.
Ooh, boy! Look at that table of contents!
Like, look at these! They look like posters, and in volume 6 it's even formatted like a manga. It's just so cool and oozes a spirit to it that works perfectly for the story. As a whole, Durarara is such a good series, and just a unique experience as a whole. The story seems so tight and very rarely are you outright confused or forget who is who. But there are always so many moving pieces that you're excited to see, and how the plot continues and just makes you enjoy the absurdity of whatever cards Durarara has to pull next.
It's easily a show I can almost recommend to anyone who's into anime. Honestly, it has a little bit of something for everyone. And if nothing I said does interest you, then what does? Do your riders need heads?